Welcome to Guzzlr.
We haven't had a funny story as an opener in a while, but I have one today. I'm sure we all watched the shocking events that were going on in America the past week.
I was there, mate.
But something funny did come out of it. We all established that there was a coup attempt when some Nazis stormed the Capitol building. But in the midst of all the madness, there was something that was just wonderful. So one of these fascists had decided that he, for some reason, wanted to victimise himself of police brutality. As a lot of them were doing. There was the woman who rubbed an onion in her eye saying she'd been maced. But an older gentleman decided to go a little bit further than that and tase himself.
Mm.
Yeah, but he decided that he was going to tase himself in the nuts, right? So he was over the age of 50 and he decided that he was going to get in the news for police brutality by tasing himself in the nuts and saying that a policeman had done it.
Sounds pretty smart to me.
But the thing is, because what actually happened is he tased himself in the nuts, had a heart attack and died.
Wow. Vote Trump.
But I just thought it was a nice, funny story seeing fascists commit suicide by tasing himself in the nuts.
Yeah, it's nice, mate. Yeah, I'm happy about it.
Guzzlr Podcast.
Alf?
Boys? Hello?
Hello, and
I'm in the
welcome
void.
to
I can see you
Guzzlr.
now.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Hello, and welcome to Guzzlr. Gents, how are we?
Yeah, not
Good,
bad,
mate.
mate. I'm worried about editing this
What are
because
you
things keep cutting out and there's a delay and it's not going to be fun, but
Well,
it'll be fine.
apart from that, yeah, I'm alright. Thank you, Declan. I've got
Yeah?
a Beveragino today.
Yeah, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking Guinness. I don't like Guinness or stouts, but it's 11 o'clock on a Saturday morning, so I
He's
felt
drinking
like
the
Guinness was
original Guinness, which is the
just
bad
the original
one.
Guinness as well. Yeah, I'm alright though. I feel like our podcasts have been quite good recently, despite not having like that the pub sort of chat atmosphere that we would usually have down in the
Build him.
in the Guzzlr studio bit. But no, I'm good. Are you?
Yeah. Alf, what are you drinking?
I just didn't realise he was going for like Guzzlr Studio or whatever. And I was just like,
I
the
don't know what
building
to
at the
call
bottom of your garden.
Building at the bottom of the garden, in the shed.
I'm drinking hang on, I've got to put you boys down for a second because I'm sat on my bed and it's very uncomfortable. Hefeweizen. Fuck knows, that's the type of beer. Rothaus. I don't know, it's all German, mate. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
I had it the other week.
Vom Hochschwarzwald. I'm sure that's correct.
Show it to the camera and I'll print screen it.
Hang on. You boys are lying down, so I'm
Perfect.
struggling.
Done it. Perfect.
What percentage is it? 5.4. Yeah.
What about you, Declan? What are you drinking?
I'm drinking something called Greco di Tufo. It's
I know him.
It's an Italian white.
Aren't all
I drank
Italians
most of the
white?
bottle yesterday.
Apart from Balotelli.
Yeah, I drank most of this yesterday, and it's gorgeous. But I'll talk about it later.
Cool. It's nice to have got a drink again.
So today,
Yes, mate.
we are discussing the Brexit deal
Yes, mate.
and why Sunak could actually just print loads of money and would be alright.
But of course, if you ever just tune into this, we want to talk about it in a way where, of course, our usual way where we chat and it's not just like hard hitting. So if you don't know anything about Brexit, please keep listening because it'll be fine.
Right. So,
Are you saying this
I've
isn't
decided on this.
like a deep political podcast?
We speak about vampires of AIDS.
I quit. I'm resigning, boys.
So I decided on this topic because obviously I study business.
Just to
and
clarify,
this
it
is
is just me and
bigger
Declan now in this video call. Alfie has indeed departed.
I'm here.
left. Oh.
I'm here.
So
You bastards.
So first things first, I just want to say I don't know how on earth this has taken them 4 years.
No, I don't either. No.
I went and so the summary of the Brexit deal is available on the Gov website. You can go and read it. Obviously, the deal itself is several thousand pages long.
You're telling me you didn't read the over 1,000 page
the whole
full
thing?
agreement?
Yeah, I'm afraid.
Jesus.
I'm afraid so.
This podcast really
I'll also
is going
say
down
as
the
well
gutter,
that-
boys.
Actually, say that in a second. No, do carry on.
And not a lot is different from what we had when we were in the EU, right? Yeah, go on.
I feel that like so obviously it took 4 years, and then we left technically January 31st or something last year, and then it took another like 11 months to get this deal. And all I could think
Transition period
was that 4 days before we left, or something, 6 days before we left, we got this deal. And I just kept thinking like, oh well, it seemed like that was almost planned. It was like in the films where it goes entirely wrong until the last 5 minutes and someone saves the day. Like, why out of like for almost 5 years? Why did it happen 6 days before the end?
Honestly,
but
if you'd give me like
The end was pushed back like 5 times though.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I reckon if you'd have given me like as many amphetamines as my body could take and a team of lawyers, I could have bashed it out in 3 weeks.
Well, with the deal we've got
Four
maybe
without the amphetamines.
I'll say that there's no real mention of immigration really in it. Not in all of the summaries I've read. No one really mentions immigration, which is what I think a lot of people voted Brexit for, because they wanted to do immigration. There's no mention of immigration really at all.
Well, we can break down. We can set our own immigration rules. Is what I saw on BBC.
So when I was reading it, like over the past few years, we've sort of came to demonise the EU over this deal. But from reading it, we're the bullies.
Yeah, I love the EU. I
so
like
when we
Donald
left,
Tusk. You know Donald Tusk, the guy who leads the EU? He's a good lad. I like him.
Is he not the one who's like off his nut?
Nah, I love him, mate. Follow him on Instagram.
that
Good
was
lad.
the one before. Yeah, so basically when we left, we told the EU we want our cake and we want to eat it too. So we want all the benefits of leaving you, but we want all the benefits of staying in you at the same time.
That sounds weirdly
Yeah.
sexual.
It's like,
Bit like a
friends
fuck-
with benefit. Yeah.
Yeah, a bit like a fuckboy situation.
I'm still thinking about cake.
So we so we wanted to get out of the EU Court of Justice, which would mean that we could make our own laws.
Yep.
And even in the Brexit deal summary, we're still following some of the EU laws.
Yeah,
We've
Northern
just
Ireland.
decided that they work.
Northern Ireland are sharing
Yeah,
a lot of the laws still. They're sharing
Yeah.
They're still subject to single market and customs laws as well, which we're not.
So Northern Ireland are in a really weird place right now, because due to the Good Friday Agreement, there can never be a physical barrier between the Republic of Ireland and the North of Ireland.
Yep.
And that was written into law years, and it predates any EU law that was written in following it, which is a bullshit sticking point that apparently came up and wasted months of time. So that was never going to happen. But it's now left Northern Ireland in a weird place where they're kind of between being in the EU and being part of the UK.
Yeah.
So they're kind of both, and that's how they've worked it out. I can't explain that because it's a load of bollocks.
Do either of you know what the Northern Ireland flag looks like?
Yeah.
The Northern Ireland flag.
Yeah, it's one that it never comes up, does it? Like we all know the Scottish flag, we know the English flag, we know the Welsh flag, but the Northern Irish flag, you don't often see it. You see the Irish flag, but the Northern Irish one doesn't come up very often.
It's basically St David's Cross with a thing in the middle, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but it's just it's just a rare one, isn't it? You don't often see the Northern Irish flag. Anyway, carry on. Do carry on.
Yeah. So, in terms of business, very little has changed. Like, a monument for a trade agreement. There's no agreements there. It's literally we've copied and pasted what we already had, basically. There's a lot of extensions of things we've already got, so it almost like they couldn't be asked to decide on a law, so they've offered an extension and carried it on.
I do feel like I've been shafted in some ways, though. I feel like some things that have happened, it's made it worse for us.
Like what?
I think there's quite a few things. I'll go into it more in detail. But I think in things like fishing, travel, certain food laws as well, qualifications and security. There you go. 6.
You've went and read a BBC article, haven't you?
More than just BBC, but I've read quite a few things to sort up on this, particularly for this podcast. But yeah, I'll get onto them more later on. But do carry on.
Right, so we've still got 100% tariff liberalisation. So basically, when we import and export goods, the EU can't put tariffs on British goods still, and we can't put any tariffs on EU goods.
I read that's only
right?
true if the things that we're exporting are 55% originating within the EU or UK.
Yeah, so that is called the Origins
Which
Agreement.
is like a big deal for a lot of companies, especially car companies who get parts from Asia.
Car companies, yeah. But that's basically what we had anyway. Like, the Origins Agreement was part of EU law, so it was trying to keep a lot of goods originating from the EU in the EU, trying to keep it just trading between countries.
I get that. But like, a lot of companies are very worried about it.
Isn't it like I heard this yesterday? Are they called Percy pigs? The sweets that you get, like apparently, like in the 9 days we've been out of the EU, apparently they've already like shot up in like money or something like that. They've had a tariff on a tax on them, and people are like, well, they left 9 days and these are like more expensive.
It might be because they originate from outside the EU, and we have to,
Yeah, and they're saying how that's mad that already that's something so small that like when people do the agreements, they don't think of those little things that happen. But I also read as well, Declan, that for example, say like Nutella, say like 2 years from now, if we go, we will put a little cheeky tax on that. We'll put on we'll put the price up on that. In return, the EU that can then just be like, all right, we're just going to tax on our cars. If you tax that one thing, no matter what it is, we're just going to tax your cars.
Right. So this is what I was going to go on to next. So we've kind of now got a good faith agreement with the EU. So this isn't like law specifically. I'm putting all of this in air quotes for people that can't see us. It's basically good faith on trade and practice.
Right.
So say if a British company wanted to make something, the government can add grants and subsidies to that UK business to make that product cheaper to make and cheaper to buy from a British consumer.
Right.
But if they do it to a product that we also import, so say it was lettuce, right? And the government started adding grants and subsidies to British lettuce, but still not giving any benefits to Spanish lettuce.
Right.
The EU can do exactly the same and add tariffs to importing UK goods to the EU. Right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a good faith agreement that we won't make any of our products cheaper to buy in Britain.
You scratch my back, I'll scratch your back.
If it negatively affects an importing product coming in. Yeah?
Yeah.
So that's just like good faith standards and stuff like that. And the same goes for marketing. So if the UK starts to market imported goods less, they can do exactly the same over there. But as of right now, we've gone, we want fair trade. We'll try and be as transparent as we can, all that sort of shit. Yeah?
There's when some of our food is leaving the UK to go into the EU, there was mentioned that the product standards, they'll have to check them all because our product standards will be different now to the EU product standards. So it says that it will take a lot longer and be a lot more costly to actually physically leave products to leave the UK, which is that's a bit of a pain in the arse, isn't it?
No, that's less to do with the standards, because right now, as it is, we've said like we're going to match standards. So because the EU trusts UK standards and they have done all this time, they're not going to bother checking the standard of products right now, right?
Yeah.
But 5 years down the line, they might decide that they want to change that, and they might start doing it. The thing that's changed is the paperwork that's required to import and export. right now, for 6 months, so until June, any imported goods don't need to change paperwork.
Right.
But anything we export to the EU does, which is where that hold-up comes from.
Okay.
And that's where we had the massive queues at Dover.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Because all the drivers needed new paperwork to get out, but no one needed new paperwork to get in, and they won't for 6 months.
Right.
Yeah?
Okay, yeah.
So that's how it works.
What about things like qualifications then? I'm sure you've read up on qualifications, don't you? Like uni qualifications and A levels and things.
No.
Okay. Right. They said that.
I don't know. That would be A levels.
I made that up. A levels.
Right. Okay.
It's because you just looking at me, and I just thought I was going to add in more. I was going to go down.
You were
SATs.
just telling me what qualifications are.
Yeah,
I
yeah, that's
understand.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
They said that the qualifications that we have, obviously in this country, like your degrees and things, they won't mean the same as what they do when you leave the UK anymore to go work in the EU, or to even go live in some parts of the EU. So you used to just be able to apply to the EU and be like, I'm going to go work in. It's like, yeah, fine. But now, depending on the country, they can either choose to accept you or not accept you. And you have to apply now to each country. And it says that your degree won't mean the same thing anymore to what it did like 2 weeks ago.
I think that's
writing.
probably just dramatic. Because, like, if you wanted to go study, I mean, the UK still has some of the best universities in the world. Nothing's ever going to change that. And, like, if we wanted to go study anywhere outside the EU, it's not like we ever had any difficulty anyway. And, like, the UK still has its history of world-class education. So I think that's probably a little bit dramatic.
That's just an in writing thing. Again, in air quotes, because they've put it in writing just to, like, add some security, just in case it has an effect. But it's very unlikely, if you've got a degree from a UK university, that you'll be negatively affected. Like, you can still get basically anywhere in the world with a degree from the UK anyway.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So it's not going to make much of a difference.
Do you not think, Declan, that the whole deal is just like everything's just got a lot more effort put on it? So, like, the e-HIC card thing...
Basically, yeah.
Like, the e-HIC card thing's basically staying the same. If you have an e-HIC card, it'll stay until it runs out. But then you've got to apply for another card with, like, a new form.
Yeah, it's...
And then, like,
international...
What the new card's going to be, are they? There'll be one.
Yeah, no, they've decided it's an international insurance card. It's what we had, basically, if you want to go to America or anything. So they're just going to use it for the EU now as well.
But they did recommend that you should buy health insurance now, didn't they, instead of just having it.
Meant to do that anyway.
Fine.
And then, like, you got to get a visa and stuff now as well, though, which is a lot more effort.
Yes, so visas come into play if you want to stay for more than 90 days in any 180-day period. So you can still do the same as you were before. If you want to go to Spain,
we can, obviously, don't get me wrong, I get that.
But if you want to stay more than 90 days in a 180-day period, that's when you have to get a visa. And visas are expedited as compared to international visas. So say you want to go to America, the visa process in America is more lengthy than what you'd have to do to get into the EU, and it's a lot cheaper to get into the EU as well.
They're also pets as well, aren't they? Pets don't have their passports anymore, so it takes it's more expensive to get your pets and stuff into. Not on mine because I'm not taking Furby anyway, but just good to say. And mobile data as well. They said that they haven't got to abide to any like laws on mobile data. So, like, obviously when you go to Amsterdam and France and Spain now, your mobile data is exactly the same. It runs exactly the same. But now that it says they could charge you for like £1 a megabyte.
They can charge, yeah.
Which that is quite mad. Simply because of the world we live in, we often use our phones a lot on mobile data. I think that is quite mad.
But I assume that mobile companies are going to try and make some kind of trade agreement that makes them look good if business people want to travel to Europe. So someone's going to do something about it.
Let's hope.
The
and
deal
also,
is basically
in
just...
terms of
Go on, no?
You are? No, you go ahead.
I was just saying the deal is basically exactly what I was worried about, where it's just like the exact same shit, but just a lot more effort.
A lot more
complicated. What was the point of leaving? There was just no point.
Agree.
Nothing's happened. Who gives a shit?
as I said, a lot of people who voted for Brexit, I think that they wanted things to do with immigration. There's no mention of immigration. Like, there's nothing like that. You have to have your license doesn't mean the same thing, does it? If you leave the country anymore. I mean, your license will still work, but you need is it a green card for your car? And it's like a more costly.
Yeah,
thing.
Insurance.
Yeah,
that's all it's for.
Yeah, that's quite.
So the two key, a few key reasons we want to leave was the state aid regime, which was that money pot that we kept paying into.
Wait,
that we've now gone over.
When you say the key reasons we want to leave, who are these the key reasons for?
Us.
Us meaning the UK or those who vote for Brexit?
Yeah.
Okay.
But the people that voted Brexit didn't know about these things, mate.
No, that's what I'm saying. Exactly.
Well, everyone was saying we pay the EU millions of pounds a week, so we don't need to do that. That state aid regime, they wanted to stop that, right? So we have stopped that. They also wanted to remove EU law, so we're no longer in the EU Court of Justice, which means we could change our laws on immigration, which was the other key reason. Yeah.
But I think that
we are now out of them.
Sorry, go on. Were you going to say anything else?
No, it's all right. No.
I think that a lot of people thought that, like you just said, we can change our immigration laws, but I still think that a lot of people physically thought that when we leave the EU, it'll be like we're going to send foreign people home, we're going to not let them in. It's going to be like it's going to be like, and I think people did genuinely vote for that because Farage was this leading this thing, and then of course when he put this thing along with Boris, this thing across the bus, what was it, £350 million to NHS?
Yeah.
It was, I don't know how often that was. Was it weekly or something? And I'm just wondering, when this money's going to come and help the NHS, the £350 million. Any day now?
Oh. Yeah.
Is it?
The reason I say that people didn't know this stuff, Deck, is that I did a talk in what year were we in though? Year 13.
Yeah.
And I did a
2015 it would have been, wouldn't it?
Maybe year 12.
Yeah.
So I did a talk in to sixth form. Were you there, Dick?
Yeah.
And I said why we should leave the EU, and I spoke about the so we pay into a big pot. We gave some money to Greece. The EU gave some money to Greece, which was a fucking awful idea because Greece didn't know what to do with the money. So they just handed the Greek government money and went, "Here you go, boys," and they fucked it again for obvious reasons. But when I did that talk, everyone came up to me afterwards who were not Ed, but these are 18-year-olds doing A-levels. You'd expect them to know some stuff, and they were like, we didn't know any of that. We thought you were going to talk about immigrants and getting rid of foreigners and stuff. But I purposely didn't talk about that because I wanted to talk about the other side of leaving the EU. But a lot of people didn't know that. They just wanted get rid of the foreigners, or they did know that stuff, but in a very abstract way. So when they talk about sovereignty and us having power over our laws, they didn't actually know the details of that. They just thought, oh, the EU's telling us what to do. But we could still vote on the stuff. That was it was still a democracy. It wasn't like the EU with this big power imposing things upon us. We still had weight within the EU.
Yeah, and even now, after we've left, we're allowed to sit in on certain meetings, aren't we, with the EU, but we're just not allowed to say anything, which is strange.
Yeah.
I find that very weird. That it's
spectator.
I did
view.
write it down. Yeah. I can't remember what it is. But we're allowed to sit in our meetings, but just not say anything. I do find that very strange.
I just think the referendum should have never happened. I don't think the British people know enough about economics or any of that sort of stuff to vote on us being a part of the EU.
No, I agree.
Was just built out of fear. There's a reason experts are experts. I get democracy.
This is the I can't. Do you know the philosopher that died because he hated democracy?
No.
I can't remember which one it was. It was Plato or one of them. One of them, a philosopher in Greece, hated democracy. Thought it was worthless. Right? There was no point to it whatsoever. Because it was basically saying it's like trying to vote your captain on a ship. No one knows anything about sailing, and it's just one guy going, well, I know how to sail.
This is what I mean.
But everyone's got to pay their due. But the other guy goes, I know a little bit about sailing, but we're going to have a party until we reach land. Everyone's just going to vote for the party.
I agree,
guy 'cause
100%.
you're gonna have some
100%. Like, I like the idea. I get the idea of democracy. It makes sense. People should have a comment on their country and stuff. But there needs, like, people are fucking dumb, mate. If you said to the average voter, what is one policy that Boris wants to put in when you vote him in, they wouldn't have a clue. They don't absolutely no idea what Boris wants, or what's Corbyn going to do. I don't know. I just don't like him.
But that was meant to be the point of MPs, so people would vote in educated individuals that knew more than them about politics and law and things like that, so that they could vote for them on the policies that mattered.
But as we've said before,
but that's kind of flipped now.
If you go on your MP's like voting record,
yeah,
it's quite shocking. To be fair, it is quite shocking.
But someone briefly touched previously about money. Which one of you just talked about money and having more of it?
I don't know, not sure. Before you get onto the thing about printing money, Dec, I'll quickly say two more things. One of them being, like, I think one of the big things about leaving the EU was about fishing. And I was watching this fishing programme last night, and it was filmed before the Brexit, before we left the EU. But they were talking about what will happen when we leave the EU. And they said that in the waters before we left the EU, if you could take a ton of pollock from the North Sea, a Dutch sailor would be able to take 10 ton. This is before we left the EU. And then the EU said that when we left, they said we would like to be able to continue doing that for 13 years. And Boris was like, no, you can do it for 3 years. And they stopped at 5, as long as they can take 25% more, which I think is crazy, because that's 12.5 tons for every ton that England takes.
Are you sure you got your numbers right?
Yeah.
Because from what I've read, right, they get to take 25% less than they're currently taking.
I thought it was 25% more because they wanted 13 years, and Boris was like, no, you can have 5. And they said, all right, 5, but 25% more for that 5 years.
I've gone off the BBC article now. But from what I read, it was 25% less fish than they're currently catching for 5.5 years. And then after that 5.5 year transition period, they're not allowed in UK waters anymore.
I did know that after that they're not allowed in the UK waters. But it is... But even before Brexit, then fine, 10 tons for every ton. That's mad, isn't it? Even before we left the EU, I think that's a crazy amount. And these fishermen were saying, like these Cornish fishermen were saying about how, like, they go out there and they're working their ass off to try and get just some fish, and they can't never reach their targets because there's not enough. And then they go see a Dutch sailing boat, and he just got like 10 ton of fish on it. That's mad.
It's a good thing I'm not a fisherman.
You are?
So it's a good thing I'm not a fisherman.
No, exactly. And then just the final one I was going to say that was about security. So there's a lot of softwares and things that obviously the EU use that we either can't use anymore, or it's harder for us to use now. We have to apply to use it. We've lost complete access to cross-referencing fingerprints throughout the EU, which is quite bad if you're trying to hunt someone down and we can't see if they've got on a fingerprint database in the EU. We can't check what flights people take throughout Europe. We can only see what flights they take in and out of our country. And the speed in which we can request data will be at the bottom of the pile after everyone from Europe, simply because they have to focus on the EU people first. And I think those things that's quite people when they vote Brexit wouldn't ever think, like, they didn't know those things.
However, that's if you go through a specific country, but you could probably expedite the process by going straight to Interpol.
I don't know enough about that, to be fair.
Interpol is just international police.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know enough about if they can do that or not.
Oh,
I don't know how the law works.
Yeah, because we've still got full access to them because Interpol aren't part of the EU. They're just everywhere.
Right.
I was going to say something about trade.
To be fair,
on
that fingerprint thing or whatever, I imagine it'll be another case where, like, we just need to. This genuinely, this is random. Might not be a bad thing now, because it just sounds like the EU could hold us more accountable. Like, if we maintain good relationships with them, things could stay good. Whereas if we're dicks, they have a bit more power to impose stuff on us. That's my take from this, and I'm happy with that.
I agree. I think it's sort of like for the next 2 years we'll be best buds, but like if you do something, third year we'll have you a little bit because they do have the right to do that.
Yeah.
It's sort of like
obviously this is if we did something first, but I know what we're like.
They are psycho ex-partners, really, aren't they? Though?
Now, although to a lot of people this may seem scary, there's a reason we need to import goods and why the EU needs to have a little bit more power than us. One, they're bigger, so it makes sense that they have that little bit more power, that little bit more influence. And two, Britain is an importing country. We physically haven't got the capital or the labour force to produce things as a country anymore. They're all sold off, like steel, coal, all of that fucking gone, right? Which means that Britain has to import goods,
of course,
from somewhere, right? The major thing that we export are services. So Britain leads almost the world.
Gigolo.
Britain almost leads the world in banking and insurance,
right,
which is basically around the city of London, that 1 square mile radius.
If you try ringing up Hastings on a Friday night, it's not ideal, I'll be honest with you. You wouldn't think we'd lead.
No, but that's what we do export. So because we have to import all of our products, we do have to let the EU kind of swing their dick around a little bit, because we need them. We have to have them, or we wouldn't survive as a country. We have to import things. So I think everyone needs to kind of chill it. Yeah, that everyone needs to kind of chill it with their hatred of the EU right now, because we need them. Like, really need them.
But if we really needed them, then we shouldn't have left.
But bigots and racism, you mix. It's just a bad batch, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. On to money.
Yes, mate.
Because you hear a lot, especially on TikTok right now, a lot of people not understanding.
It's because TikTok's full of children, Declan.
Yeah.
I spat my Guinness
not
everywhere.
Understanding inflation and like even just in the common day, like they keep saying we're going bankrupt. It's all going to shit.
But these are 13-year-olds.
The UK's running out of money. No, just these are people on the street as well. Like, why doesn't Rishi just print more money or this, that, and the other? I assume you know how inflation works. Yeah.
In what sense?
So, what do you mean? In what sense? That was the question.
No, what do you mean? Basically, just explain.
So
it, Declan,
why is inflation
for the
a
people
thing?
Listening.
Right. So, inflation is a thing because our money, like the banknotes and coins that you have, are a receipt for a certain weight of gold.
Yep.
That the gold that we have is finite. So if you print more money, the receipt is worth less because we haven't got as much gold now. Yeah?
Yeah.
Makes sense?
And
so if you had 10 receipts for gold and you all of a sudden had 100, each receipt would be worth less because we still have the same amount of gold.
And there's famous photos. Is it in Germany when there was just notes everywhere on the road, and they're like just sweeping money up and put it in a bin because there's just so much of it.
Yeah. Yeah, and they didn't have enough gold to compute.
No, exactly. Yeah.
Now, inflation isn't a thing in modern monetary theory, right? Because it's the digital age.
Yeah.
Something has changed now that we don't have to print money anymore and we can just add an extra zero on a keyboard, right? This is called modern monetary theory, and I'm going to read it to you. So, modern monetary theory argues that governments create new money by using fiscal policy, which is like taxes and shit. According to advocates, the primary risk once the economy reaches full employment is inflation, right? So full employment is the point at which everyone who can work is working.
Right.
Now, if you keep making money or printing money once full employment is reached, that's when inflation occurs, right? Because everyone's earning a certain amount, you're making more money than they're earning. So it's just
But
going
like-
to shit. Or it's just excess money.
Yeah. But so wait.
Yeah?
But inflation's just like there's more money than there is goods.
Yeah.
So like
Kind
if
of.
you keep printing money, so like say me
Mm.
and you are both going after the same thing, and we've both got
Mm.
100 quid or whatever. If we both gone after the same thing, we both got 200 quid because inflation, like everything's doubled. Then obviously that's going to cost more money. Like that's what inflation is. There's more money
Yeah.
for the same amount of goods, so the price goes up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the thing
But yeah,
with
carry
like, the
on.
idea of adding a zero, it comes from the fact now that we use like Bitcoin as currency now, and Bitcoin is something that doesn't really exist. Like you can't hold Bitcoin. Like Bitcoin isn't actually a thing. It's a thing that we've made on computers. It's not like gold and things. It's this currency that doesn't really physically exist. But
But doesn't Bitcoin more physically exist than like your money with Nationwide or something? I can't. Bitcoin's mental.
Yes.
Like Bitcoin's insane.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
Bitcoin's very, very
is.
confusing because it's based off the stock market.
but
Yeah,
fine.
it's
So
like
like,
blockchain, innit?
if we go back like 80 years ago, then you could walk into your local bank, and you could have physically your money in like a safe or something. Probably not your local bank, but a bank, and you could have physically your money in that bank. Where now, your money is it is just a digital thing.
Yeah.
Your money doesn't physically exist anymore. It is just like it is just on the computers. And yeah, like you said, the notes we get and the coins we get are just receipts for the money that we've taken out.
Yeah.
It is crazy to think about that.
But the government can basically play around with interest rates, which is one, which is just how much the government thinks money is worth. And right now, interest rates are capped at like 1.5%. So if they up that, they're basically telling the public that we want money to be worth more than money is currently worth.
Right.
Does that
Right.
make sense?
Yeah.
So if you went and bought a house, all the interest rates went up. The money you borrowed would be worth more than you're borrowing it for. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the government can play about with these little factors, things like tax, interest rates, and basically get rid of inflation completely. And because the pound is its own like currency, they can basically make as much of it as they want and grow an economy to whatever scale they want without it causing inflation. It's really complex and really confusing. But basically, the UK government could make us all very rich very easily by playing about with some very minute factors.
Why wouldn't they?
Yeah, why?
I don't know.
But then, like, surely, say like Zimbabwe or something whose currency is just like weak as shit. You know, in Zimbabwe, like you'd have like a 60 million whatever their currency is now, and it's like equivalent to a pound. Surely that's just they've got too much money. They've printed too much. They've just got too much currency that's worthless.
Yeah.
But like, surely that's a
compared
bad
to their
thing, though.
Gross domestic product. Yeah, honestly, the more I study economics, the worse it gets.
Right,
The worse
okay.
economics gets, or the worse your understanding gets.
Yeah, both. The more you learn about money, the more complex money gets.
Money's mental, mate. I don't understand money. As people could tell from this podcast.
Like, it doesn't make any. There's so many factors that go into it. It's really confusing.
Yeah, I imagine it is.
Yeah.
In terms of stock market, I read a thing that said, like 12 years ago, if you'd have put money into Netflix, Starbucks, and Bitcoin, how much money you'd have now. It was like, if you put 100 quid in for it, like 12 years ago, you'd have lots of money now.
Well, as of today, which is Saturday what's the date?
9th.
9th. You're meant to put a shit ton of money into Bitcoin because as of Monday, Tesla becomes a Fortune 500 company.
Right.
And Tesla's just brought a shit ton of Bitcoin stock. And the theory goes that Elon Musk has just brought a version of Bitcoin, I don't know what it's called, and is now the CEO of it.
Right.
Tweeted that. Their stock went up 400%. Then Tesla has now brought a shit ton of Bitcoin and started using that as their like primal base of currency. When they go to the S&P 500 on Monday, that's going to monopolize the industry for Tesla because of how much money they've now got, and Bitcoin stock is going to go through the roof.
I just have no idea how Bitcoin works. I know people say, well, if you just go on this thing and you buy it, but like, it is more complex than that. Like, I wouldn't know when to like leave. I wouldn't know about mining stuff. Like, I'll just leave it, mate. I'll just sit on the sofa and watch telly instead.
Bitcoin mining that I don't understand. It's like a data thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
because I know there's like some of the torrenting thing. I mean, obviously torrenting's illegal, but like some of their things are Bitcoin miners. So like they just run on your laptop and they mine Bitcoin. But like, I think it's a really slow process. Like to get like one Bitcoin, I think you need a lot of programs open on everyone's computer for ages. But that doesn't make sense. I don't understand it. I don't get how it works. But like all of that is true. I just don't know how it works.
Yeah. No idea.
It's the one thing that really confuses me.
Nah, it's like some blockchain.
Well, thank you, Declan,
shit,
for your education and insights into Brexit, because it is interesting, especially for those who listen who possibly didn't know about those things as well, which is very good. So thank you for that.
But basically, to summarise, don't worry about it. Very little has changed.
Very little has changed, and yeah, I was going to say more points, but it's fine. We'll leave it at that. And as you mentioned as well before we started this, about all the things in Washington as well, there's been, along with Brexit and things, there's been a lot of negative news recently.
Yes, mate.
It has a lot.
Too much.
Too much, far too much. So next Wednesday we're going to do an episode on, as we've done previously, good news and funny news. We done one a couple months ago, and it was about, I can't remember what the title
What episode was it? 12. Episode 12.
Episode 12. It was like I can't remember the episode. It was like
Ice Cream
episode.
Graveyard.
Ice Cream Graveyard. Something to Josh
else.
Brolin. Was it Josh Brolin?
No.
Josh Brolin's Pucker Hole.
Yeah, but that's a like clip on our YouTube,
That's a
isn't it? I
clip.
don't think that was in the title.
I can't remember what the rest of the title's called.
Just
But
go
it was a
watch
very funny
it.
episode. And yeah, you
Grim
should go watch
Reaper.
it.
That's my favourite episode, and that's Vampires in Africa.
It is Vampires Africa.
It was a bloody good one. It is a bloody good one. Go watch it.
It's a very, very good episode. So I'm hoping that next Wednesday we'll have an episode that will sort of be a bit like lighter and a bit more positive. So if you are getting a bit down with all this like negative news, you can hear something that's good. And
Positive.
And it will just be here because we're not all in the same room yet, and I imagine we won't be for quite a while now.
No.
Yeah, after the numbers that come out of yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah. 1,300 deaths. That is mental.
Which is the most
Yeah.
since the pandemic
New
began.
record.
It's
Which
crazy.
is crazy.
Record breakers.
So
Yeah.
Boris,
As we
Boris
stated as
mentioned
well.
somewhere yesterday as well. Where did he mention it? He mentioned 31st of March. Did anyone see that?
No.
No?
As the lockdown date. I swear, I can't remember where it was, but he mentioned that, and then someone was like, hang on, that's not the date, and he was like, it's what we're sort of like, he basically said it's what they're planning for, 31st of March.
Well, alright.
Well,
So,
that's
a
when
month
they want
later.
the top 4 vulnerable things vaccinated, isn't it?
Yeah, which is probably when things will go back to normal. Maybe.
They have said
not
that
normal, but like,
there's less over 80-year-olds who are dying, which is a positive thing.
So where are all the deaths coming from now?
Well, I think it's a lot younger people. In the hospitals, they're saying there's so many young people in hospital at the moment who are like really, really ill, like a lot younger people. People of our age who are in hospital dying. Because for so long, people our age were just like oblivious to it, like, nah, I don't care. But now they are incredibly ill. Also, we spoke in a podcast a little while ago about how things are getting better because they were finding out more about the virus and how it wasn't particularly a lung thing, it was in the blood, and they were using iron lungs and things. And we were like, this is good because they understand it. If they understand it, and we've got the record amount of deaths
Why are more
yesterday,
people dying?
yeah,
I mean,
then
they've
that's
got better at caring for it.
yeah.
But it's still not making anything better. Yeah.
We're better in everything apart from the fact that more people are dying. Like, then that's incredibly bad. Incredibly bad.
Have you seen about the statistics on one dose of the vaccine?
No.
Is this
So they've pushed back the second dose to 12 weeks.
Yeah.
Yes.
And everyone was like, whoa, you can't do that. Apparently, having just one dose reduces your like safety net, so it goes from like 90% to 60%, but it gives 100% protection from hospitalisation and death. So although you could still get it,
Yeah.
you're probably not going to
I
be
think
hospitalised, and you're probably not
the
gonna die
first
from it.
first injection's not I think the first injection is useful. It's not a major issue, but the problem is that it still only lasts for a finite time before you have to have it again before you can have the second. And like, if the government coordinate this well, it makes complete sense to me to push back the second one. It makes complete sense because I think it's like 12 weeks or like something like that you can have.
12 weeks.
Like that's the gap you can have between the first and the second. So it's a good strategy. I just don't know if I trust our government enough to actually get people the second one before the first one's pointless. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it's coordinated well, it makes complete sense. I would never argue against that. It was recommended by scientists, so it does make sense. But I just don't know if they're good enough to actually get it to happen. But we'll see.
Did you see this the other day, Dec, where Matt Hancock got this like GP, like a major GP surgery and they basically got all media there, and they said, right, we're going to do some jabs live on telly. Matt Hancock was going to be there. It was going to be a big interview, big thing. Got to GP surgery. Matt Hancock had a little bit of an interview outside. They went in, and the GP surgery went, "We ain't got any, mate." And he was like, "Oh." And they had to turn around to all the media people, all the cameras, and all like the journalists, and go, "They ain't got any," and they just had to leave.
And it got delayed by a day, the delivery.
Typical incompetence.
Yeah, I just think that's hilarious. And it had to happen to Matt Hancock, of course, because it's him. It had to be.
Well, Mr. Rishi Sunak took out a shit ton of Moderna stock at the start of lockdown, and they've just approved the Moderna vaccine. So I assume he's just got very, very rich.
It's a shock, isn't it? Where is Rishi? I haven't seen him in a while.
He's just he's bathing in a bath of money.
I miss him, man.
50% off coupons.
Dishy Rishi, wasn't it?
Dishy Rishi, yeah.
Nickname, yeah.
He was keeping quiet because he was just hoping that he'd be able to be Prime Minister next. And he was just like, he doesn't want to say anything too bad. He's waiting again till he can come on when it's bad and just go, 50% off KFC! And everyone goes, yay, Rishi.
Good times, to be fair. I had a lot of
times.
KFC.
On a side note, until the 30th of January, you can get off 50% off KFC. They're doing a different thing every week. This week, they brought their wraps back for 50% off KFC. Ends on the 10th. Cheers.
Sponsor us, is it? Freaking feels like it.
Great.
KFC's a big sponsor, to be fair. I'll take it.
Yeah.
So would I.
Just...
Especially if they got us free food to have on the show.
Yes. That's all I need.
There we go.
All right,
well,
cool.
That was our explanation of Brexit, modern monetary theory, and some other shit.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoyed.
Thank you very much. What about your drink, Declan? Your wine?
Oh, Grego di Tuffo. So... it's all in fucking Italian. Store in a cool dark place is the only thing that's in English. So this is from Lidl. It was £7, £6.99. And it's rated 90 on Lidl's rating scale. And last time I trusted Lidl's rating scale, I was very disappointed. But this is gorgeous. It's a really soft, almost, you don't really realise it's white wine, if that makes sense. It's got a little peacock on the front. It's just really nice. It's very soft, elegant. Go for it. Eat it with prawns.
I've frozen.
This Guinness, it just has in big capital letters on the back. It just says, "Beer contains barley."
The boys have disappeared completely. Hello.
I like that it says beer contains barley.
I was just talking to myself because I disappeared.
Hello.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. You frozen, Aaron.
So I've edited in. I'm going to edit me just going. The boys are gone. I'm in the void. I'm all alone. What happened while I was gone?
I just said that on the back of this Guinness bottle, all it says in big capital letters in bold, it just says beer contains barley.
It's weird.
Yeah, it is.
So my beer says wheat beer on it. I think they forgot to make it a wheat beer, and they've just fucking shoved some wheat in some Fosters because it tastes like shit.
I totally agree. I picked that bit the other day because I saw wheat beer and I thought this is going to be nice, and it wasn't.
It just tastes like Weetabix.
Yeah,
like
it does,
watered down, pissy Weetabix.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of wheat beer, as are you, but this wasn't very nice wheat beer.
It's just not. It's not good. It's not good. Don't get it.
The bottle's nice, though, isn't it? It's got
I do not recommend.
Top.
Yeah, it was quite nice, to be fair. And what I liked about it, this is just... I'm a child. Underneath the foil, the cap still had a nice print design on it. I just thought,
it did.
Why have you put that much effort in?
Yeah.
But I like it, but what's the point?
Yeah, I like it too. I like it. On Friday, we have an extra video coming out, so do
we?
About that. Yes, we do.
You look
What?
so confused.
it'll be some good news to advertise our good news podcast the following Wednesday.
Yeah, Friday we've got a extra coming out.
That'll be on YouTube and on Instagram, so you can look at that on Instagram.
God, I forgot about that. It made me panic then. I thought, what else am I editing?
No,
Sweets round 2.
Sweets round 2.
I'm going to try
Have you seen the
100
Sweets
different
video?
types.
Again.
If you have seen the Sweets video, give it just give any of our videos a share if you still listen to this. Excellent, thanks.
Cool. Alright.
Alright.
Bye.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Thank you much.
See you later.
Thank you for listening to this Guzzlr podcast.